Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm super excited to talk about an anime that doesn't get nearly enough love, and that's World Trigger. Now if you're someone who loves anime with cool powers, deep strategy, smart characters, and a world building that actually makes sense, then this anime might just be your new favourite. But here's the thing, a lot of people either don't know about World Trigger or gave it up too early because of the slow start with the early animation, and I get it, I was almost one of them. But trust me, if you stick with it, and this show delivers in a way that most shonen anime don't. World Trigger first aired in 2014, created by Daisuke Ashura and animated by Toei Animation. At first glance, it might seem like a typical action anime. Mysterious monsters invade Earth, and a special team rise up to fight back. But once you get into it, you realize it's much more than just that. In this review, I'll break everything down, from the story, and the characters, and the fights, and the world building, and even the issues. I'm going to keep things simple, spoiler free at first, and honest. Whether you're brand new to the series or you're just thinking of giving it another shot, this video is for you. So grab a snack, sit back, and let's dive deep into the world of gates, neighbors, and triggers. This is my full review of World Trigger. Let's start with the plot, and don't worry, I won't spoil anything major here. World Trigger takes place in a city called Mikado City, where life used to be normal, until one day a mysterious gate appeared out of nowhere. From it came beings from another world, dangerous creatures known as neighbors. These monsters weren't like anything people had ever seen before, and normal weapons, totally useless against them. Just when it looked like the city was doomed, a mysterious group stepped in. They called themselves Border, an organization created to fight neighbors. Border has advanced technology taken from the neighbors themselves. They use it to develop special weapons called triggers, powered by a kind of energy known as Trion. Thanks to Border, the city was saved, but that was just the beginning. Fast forward a few years later, and Border has become a huge part of life in Mikado City. New gates still open from time to time, and Border agents are always on alert. They're trained to fight, protect civilians, and close gates when they open. This is where we meet the main characters. The story kicks off with a high school student named Osamu. He's a member of Border, but he's not strong, at least not in your usual way. One day he meets a new transfer student, a short and a mysterious white-haired boy named Yumakuga. Turns out Yuma's actually a neighbor, but not the evil kind. Yuma is from the neighbor world, but he's on the earth for a reason. He has secrets and is stronger than he looks. When Osamu finds out the truth, he has a choice to make: trust this stranger or report him. Along the way, they meet Chika Amatori, a shy girl with a kind heart and a huge secret of her own. Together, the three of them form a new team. Their goal: to climb to the border ranks and make it to the top. Not just to get stronger, but to uncover the truth about the neighbor worlds and to protect the people they care about. The story unfolds in layers. At first, it seems like another monster of the week type anime, but as you go deeper, you realize the world is much bigger than it looks. There's much more than one neighbor world. Some are peaceful, others at war, and the politics between them, way more complex than you expect in a typical shonen. What makes World Trigger different is that it doesn't just focus on power levels, it focuses on strategy, on teamwork, on the idea that you don't need to be the strongest fighter to make a difference. Osamu is proof of that. He struggles, he fails, but he learns, and he keeps going. The pacing starts off slow, especially in the first season. That's probably the number one reason why people drop the show early. But here's the thing, the slow start is setting up a much deeper story. When things pick up later, everything that seemed boring at first starts to make sense. The payoffs are worth it. Another cool thing is that there's no chosen one nonsense. Every character has to work hard for their place, and power doesn't come easy. In fact, the rank wars, where the teams of agents battle each other to move up the rankings, become one of the most best parts of the series, but we'll talk about that more later. So to sum up, mysterious gates open in Mikado City, neighbors come through and attack, Border is forced to fight them using Trion-based weapons, Osamu, Yuma and Chika form a team to rise through the ranks, and slowly, the real story begins, a war between worlds, hidden truths, and what it really means to protect others. World Trigger is not just a flashy anime, it's a slow burn, smart story that awards patience. If you like deep world building, long-term character growth, and stories where brain matters as much as brawn, this is for you. Now let's talk about World Trigger's biggest strengths, world building. World Trigger takes time to explain how the universe works, and the cool part, it actually makes sense. Everything from the power system to the politics between worlds feels planned and detailed. At the heart of it all is something called Trion. Trion is like spiritual energy, everyone has it, but the amount varies from person to person. It's what powers all the technology in the show. If you have a lot of Trion, you can become a powerful fighter, but it's not just about fighting. Trion also is used for communication, weapons, and artificial bodies. When a border agent goes into battle, they switch to their Trion body. This means that the real body stays safe, and their fake body can be destroyed without killing them. This is actually genius because it allows characters to take big risks and go all out without always dying or getting badly hurt. It also explains why fights can be intense, but not deadly every time. Now let's talk about the triggers. Triggers are weapons that use Trion. Each trigger is customizable. You can have guns, blades, shields, traps, and every agent builds their own loadout based on their fighting style. Some go all offense, while others focus on defense or support. This brings us to Border, the defense organization that trains and equips agents. Border is split into different squads and ranks: A rank, B rank, and C rank. New agents start at C and they work their way up. Each team usually has 3 or 4 members, and they train constantly. There's also a big difference between border agents and neighbors. Not all neighbors are evil monsters. Some are people just like us, and from other worlds. These worlds make up the neighborhood, a collection of planets or dimensions that are connected through gates. Some are peaceful, and others are at war, and some have advanced technology beyond anything Earth has seen. Border is fully aware of this, and some people in Border have their own goals. Some want peace, others want revenge, and some want to explore the neighbor worlds to learn from them. These different viewpoints make the organization feel real, like there's actual military force with the politics, divisions, and secrets. One interesting branch of Border is Tamakoma, which is where some of the main characters end up. Tamakoma has a different philosophy. They believe neighbors can be allies, not just enemies. This brings a whole new layer to the story, especially once Yuma and other neighbor characters become involved. Another cool thing is that World Trigger shows the everyday impact of Trion on gates on normal life. People are used to alarms going off when the gates open. Schools have protocols. Border agents are treated like local heroes, kind of like firefighters or first responders. It gives the world a grounded and realistic feel. And then there's the neighborhood. Later in the series, we get to see other worlds, each with their own culture, tech, and politics. Some are ruled by powerful families, and some have advanced armies, and others are just trying to survive. This expands the story way beyond just Earth, and makes the anime feel like a sci-fi epic. So to sum it all up, Trion is energy that powers everything. Triggers are customizable weapons used by border agents. Trion bodies allow safe combat without killing characters. Border is a big organization with complex structure and goals. The world has a realistic reaction to constant invasions. The neighborhood opens up huge and rich universe of other planets. It's honestly one of the most thought out worlds I've seen in anime. If you're a type of fan that loves lore, structure and rules that actually matter, World Trigger is a goldmine. Characters are everything in long-running series, and World Trigger does something really interesting here. Instead of just focusing on one hero, it gives the spotlight to many characters, each with their own unique skills and personalities. Let's start with the main trio. Osamu Mikomo is not your typical shonen protagonist. He's not super powerful, and he doesn't have any secret hidden powers, and honestly, in a straight up fight, he'll lose to most people. But that's the point. Osamu is smart, dedicated, and cares deeply about protecting people. He knows he's not the strongest, so he works harder than anyone. He studies strategies, builds trust, and supports his teammates. His growth is all about becoming the better leader. Then there's Yuma Kuga. The short white-haired boy is actually a neighbor. At first he seems cocky and laid back, but he's also hiding a tragic past. Yuma is extremely powerful thanks to a special trigger made by his father. But what makes him interesting is how he thinks. He's not from Earth, so his way of seeing things is different. He's calm in battle, clever in strategy, and is always 2 steps ahead. But he's also kind, funny, and loyal. The third member of the trio is Chika Amatori. She seems shy and quiet at first, but she has more raw Trion than almost anyone else in the series, and that makes her a valuable asset and a target. Chika struggles with the idea of hurting others, even in training. Her journey isn't about becoming strong physically, it's about overcoming our fear and using our power to help our friends. Together, these 3 make up Tamakoma Second, a team formed to rise through the ranks of Border. They don't always win, in fact they often lose. But that's what makes their journey feel real. They improve through hard work, teamwork, and tough lessons. But the main trio is just the beginning. World Trigger has over 100 named characters, and the crazy part, most of them are well written. You start to recognize each squad, each personality, and each battle style. Then there's Jin Yurichi, the laid-back S-rank agent with future sight. He seems chill, but is one of the most dangerous agents in Border. Then there's Yuz, a neighbor from after Creator that joins Tamakoma. He starts off cold and arrogant, but slowly opens up, especially when he realizes how different Border is from his own world. You'll meet Kuga's mentor Replica, a mini robot with a brain full of knowledge. Then there's Kazuma, a quiet sword expert, and Kitora, a prideful fighter who slowly learns humanity. The list goes on: Ninamiya, Anomi, Katori, Ikaoma, Mira, and many more. Each team has its own vibe, his own tactics, and his own internal struggles. What makes the character special is that everyone has a role. There's no one-size-fits-all heroes. Some are attackers, some are snipers, and some are operators. Every team has a support member back at base, helping with radar, strategy, and planning. Even the nerds have value on the battlefield. Also, the character growth is slow, but it feels earned. You don't get crazy power-ups every arc. Instead, you see people train, test ideas, and get stronger through trial and error. Another thing I love, the relationships feel natural. There's barely any romance, and that's okay. The focus is on trust, loyalty, and teamwork. You see how characters react under pressure, how they support each other, and how they deal with failure. And trust me, they fail a lot. In most shonen anime, the hero gets saved by some miracle, but in the World Trigger, your plans can blow up in your face, and the show lets that happen. When you see a character grow stronger or finally win, it's not luck, it's because they earned it. Well, Trigger gives screen time to so many people, but it never feels too much. If anything, you start rooting for the other team just as much as the main squad. You might find yourself cheering for the enemies, because they're not just villains, just rivals with their own dreams. Let's get into one of the most exciting and unique parts of World Trigger, the battles. This anime is some of the smartest fights you'll ever see in a shonen series. Most battle animes rely on power levels, emotional rage, boost, or last minute saves. World Trigger's the opposite. It's all about planning, teamwork, and using your tools wisely. Every fighter in World Trigger uses something called a trigger, a special weapon system powered by Trion. Each agent chooses their loadout before a mission. There are offensive triggers like blazing guns, defensive triggers like shields, movement triggers for speed and jumping, and even sneaky triggers that let you lay traps or create decoys. The cool thing is, you don't just get stronger. With power, you get stronger by being smarter. A character like Osamu, who isn't strong in terms of Trion output, can still win fights if he uses tactics. He'll lure opponents into traps, coordinate with his team, or sacrifice himself to give someone else the opening. That's not weakness, that's clever leadership. Now let's talk about the rank wars, the heart of the anime's second and third seasons. The rank wars are official practice matches between squads in B rank. They're not just for fun, they determine promotions, team rankings, and who gets selected for future missions to the neighborhood. And these matches are where World Trigger truly shines. Every rank war match takes place in a virtual battlefield that mimics the real city. There are buildings, streets, and hiding spots, and every team enters the map with their own plan. Some try to ambush, some defend high positions, some set traps from the start, and others just roam the map hunting the weak. Because each agent has a Trion body, they can go all out in these matches without worrying about dying. This opens the door for risky plays, crazy close range clashes, last second escapes, or big sacrifices that would never happen in a war more serious. What makes the battle so fun to watch is the constant adaptation. Every team has their own strategies, and sometimes their plans get ruined in the first few minutes. When that happens, it's all about who can adapt on the fly. For example, you might see a sniper pinned down in a building. Instead of calling for help, they'll set a trap. Maybe they'll blow up the stairs, or shoot the floor so the enemies fall. You'll see a support type fighter use a decoy clone to trick the enemies into wasting bullets, then counter-attack when they reload. Each fight is like a chess match, and you get to see it unfold in multiple angles. There's even an operator for each team, a non-combat member who stays behind and guides their team with radar, updates, and enemy tracking. Operators are basically the strategists, and they can make or break a match. Now, it's not all about rank wars. The show also features invasion arcs, like when neighbor forces attack Earth directly. These fights have higher stakes, the enemies are usually stronger, and the risk is real. You'll see full-scale battles with dozens of agents, gates opening in the sky, and entire cities on lockdown. But even then, the same principles apply. All the agents don't just rush in, they analyze the situation and come up with a plan, and support each other. There are almost always layers to every conflict. Someone's creating a distraction, someone else is securing civilians, someone's baiting the boss enemy into a trap. Another thing to love? The variety. There are sword fights, sniper duels, ambushes, long-range shootouts, and even underground chases. One minute you're watching a fast-paced 1v1, the next minute it's a full team trying to corner a sniper hiding in a skyscraper. And because the agents all have custom loadouts, no fight ever feels the same. There are also highlight moments like when Yuma takes on multiple opponents by himself, or when Chica finally lets loose with a devastating attack. These moments hit hard not just because of the power, but because they come from real effort and growth. In short, World Trigger's fighting system isn't about raw strength, it's about smart choices. The battles are slower, more tactical, and filled with little tricks and surprises. If you're tired of the same old power scaling formula in anime, then this is a breath of fresh air. So if you love series like Code Geass, Attack on Titans, or Death Note, where strategy is key, you're going to love the way World Trigger handles combat. It's like watching the best parts of team-based video games with emotional stakes and deep character moments behind every move. Okay, time to be honest. One of the biggest reasons people drop World Trigger early is because of the pacing and animation, especially in the first season, and I get it. Season 1 of World Trigger, which ran from 2014 to 2016, has over 70 episodes, and a lot of them early episodes are slow, especially the first 20 or so. There's a lot of explaining and a lot of setting up rules, and not much fast-paced action as people might expect. It's very different from something like My Hero Academia or Demon Slayer where you get big explosions right away. But here's the thing, that slow pace is on purpose. World Trigger isn't trying to be a non-stop action series, it's building a complex world. It's laying the groundwork for everything that comes later. And when the show finally does pick up, it gets really good. Now let's talk about the animation. Toei Animation handled season 1, and it wasn't their best work. A lot of stiff movements, off-model characters, and reused frames. You can tell they were working on a low budget. Some fights still look cool because of the ideas behind them, but the visuals aren't amazing at first. The good news? Things change. After a break, World Trigger returned in Season 2, 2021, and then in Season 3, 2021 to 2022. These seasons had fewer episodes, only 12 and 14, but the quality jumped big time. Animation is cleaner, the fights look sharper, and the pacing is way faster. And since the later seasons focus heavily on rank wars, they're filled with non-stop battles, brilliant tactics, and character growth. If you make it to Season 2, you'll see why so many fans call this anime a hidden gem. Also, one cool thing is that the anime stays very close to the manga. There's barely any filler after Season 1, and the storytelling stays consistent. It respects the source material and builds everything carefully. So here's my advice, stick with it. Yes, the first 20 episodes are slow, and yes, the animation in Season 1 can be rough, but if you focus on the story and characters and push through to Season 2 and 3, the payoff is 100% worth it. World Trigger might not be flashy, but it plays the long game, and it wins. Alright, no show is perfect, so let's be real about where World Trigger struggles. First, as I mentioned before, the pacing in the first season can be a big turn-off. It really does take a while for things to get going. If you're someone who needs action and drama right away, those early episodes might feel slow. Second, the animation in Season 1 is rough. Toei animation was clearly stretched thin, and it shows. Some battles are stiff, and some scenes just don't have the energy or impact you want from a high-stakes moment. Third, there are a few filler episodes in Season 1. Not many, but they exist. They don't ruin the story, but they can slow things down even more. Thankfully, after Season 1, the anime follows the manga closely and gets much tighter. Also, the huge number of characters, while awesome, can feel overwhelming at first. You might struggle to remember names or who's on which squad, but if you stick with it, you'll find that the writing makes them all stand out eventually. Lastly, because the anime is more grounded and realistic, some fans may find it less emotional or dramatic than other shonen shows. You won't see massive meltdowns or tearful speeches every few episodes. It's more reserved, which might not be for everyone. Still, most of these problems are minor issues. Once you hit the rank wars, the animation improves, the pacing tightens, and the battles are some of the best in any anime. So yeah, World Trigger has flaws, but it's the kind of show where the deeper you go, the better it gets. So here's the big question, should you watch World Trigger? My answer, yes, absolutely, but with a little patience. This isn't a flashy anime, it doesn't try to impress you with explosions or over-the-top screaming. What it does instead is build a smart world, full of deep strategy, lovable characters, and long-term payoffs. If you love shows where teamwork matters, where every fight has a meaning, and where growth comes from effort, and not just by magic power-ups, then World Trigger is 100% worth your time. Just remember, the first 20 episodes are slow, the animation starts off weak, but it all builds up towards something amazing. Once you get to Season 2 and 3, it's like a whole new show. The rank war arcs are some of the best strategy battles in anime, and the character development keeps getting better. World Trigger isn't just a hidden gem, it's a show that proves you don't need to shout to be heard. You just need solid writing, smart structure, and a cast of characters that you can grow with. So if you've never seen it, or you gave it up too early, give it a second shot. I promise it's worth it. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and drop your favourite World Trigger characters in the comments. Until next time, stay sharp and keep your triggers ready.